What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So the first thing I do want to mention is you probably saw the title of this video and went, what? But I do want to explain why I think this is, and also the reason why I do feel this way about Most Wanted 2012 being remastered, or honestly, any other Need for Speed game for that matter. But I'm kind of hooked on Most Wanted 2012 for a couple of different reasons, and I'm also going to explain why I even think getting this game remastered is most likely going to be a challenge. So, as y'all know, I have been playing a lot of old games recently, and with that, a lot of people I feel like are also kind of going back and playing old games and realizing how fun they were and stuff, and they're probably noticing how, like, a lot of the games back then focused on a fun factor, and that kind of brought me to a point of playing Need for Speed Most Wanted again, because I always enjoyed this game back then, guys. Like, not even kidding, when this game came out in 2012, I understand that, yes, this is not going to be a quote-unquote Need for Speed game, more of like a Burnout type of game, and a lot of people are like, this game would have been amazing if they didn't call it Most Wanted. Honestly, I did play a lot of Burnout and stuff, and I finally did end up getting Burnout Revenge and Burnout 3 copies, so I am going to play through those. But I was playing a good amount of Burnout Paradise, and I can see these similarities with them. But even with that being said, I still feel like Most Wanted 2012 is very special and also a really fun game. Not only is it going to have real cars in there, because in Burnout there isn't going to be real cars in there, but I do know for a fact right now I can't be the only person that really does enjoy the gameplay of Most Wanted 2012. I did end up getting this game on Steam with every single DLC. I think the entire thing was like $5 or $6 on sale, and my goodness, I've been having such a great time. In fact, I even went back and bought a PS3 copy again because I did want to play it on there and mess around and stuff, and I do feel like a lot of people might end up feeling kind of similar to me with that, like just jumping back in and playing this game again. And this also made me think about something else though, guys. We all do know that Need for Speed Hot Pursuit was remastered, and a lot of people absolutely love that game. Now, I do know they are going to be completely different. We all do know Most Wanted's not going to be the same there. It's not going to be a cop racer or something. We all do know it is different, but I gotta admit, the overall gameplay of Most Wanted, man, like, I don't know what it is. I love the way the sense of speed is, the way the cars handle and stuff. It's a really fun arcade racer that, in my opinion, still has one of the best multiplayer experiences ever with any of the racing games that are currently out, at least the way they did end up doing it. How it's pretty much start here, mess around with a bunch of people, race, do other things like skills and jumps, and kind of just messing around a free roam lobby, but also you can make friends with it as the proximity chat thing worked. So that was very cool, like racing against people and hearing them talk to each other, and being in a public lobby and hearing them talk and all that, going, yo, that car's pretty dope, man, what is that? Or what upgrades you got on your car for this race, and stuff like that. Like, I just really enjoyed those small aspects as well. And I do understand that a lot of people are like, you know what, man, we don't want Most Wanted. We want something like Underground or Most Wanted, or, and I refer to the '05 Most Wanted, by the way, or the other Underground game. And you know what? I do understand that, guys. Those are by far going to be the most popular Need for Speed games, at least that a lot of people do refer to. But you know what? Something I did end up thinking about, which I thought about making a completely separate video on, talking about the licensing thing about the Need for Speed games, on why that is probably going to be a huge factor in this. We all do know in Hot Pursuit 2010 that, yes, I do know of all the music being in there, I think it is, but I also do know the SLR McLaren was going to be removed from the game. With that, a lot of people are like, well, if we did end up getting a Most Wanted remastered, let's say, are they going to remove the LFA? Are they going to remove this car? Maybe that one? Are we going to have access to this vehicle? Like, that also makes people wonder. On top of that, it's then again going to be the music that I feel like might end up not having the licensing for. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe the companies or the owners of that said music don't want to. Who knows? There is a lot of factors to that. And with that could also play into the older games. That can also be a reason why they're not going to be coming out again. Or maybe a lot of people might look at those and go, man, I really love like a new Most Wanted '05 to be remastered, but maybe for all we know, they might not even be able to do it, as some of the blacklist cars on there and stuff are probably not even going to be available. Like, we do know we have the Supra. I also do know the SLR McLaren was in there. So what are they going to do? Like, completely remove the cars from the game or something? We all do know that would probably completely ruin it. On top of that, again, the music. So a lot of these things really do end up playing factors into it. But I was like, you know what? I feel like if they were to remaster one of these games, I don't know why, but I think Most Wanted 2012 would probably make the most sense, man. Like, we're going to have 2 years most likely of no Need for Speed, right? A lot of people are probably going to want something to do, another Need for Speed game to play. I did end up buying Hot Pursuit Remastered. I absolutely love it. I still play it here and there. Love the gameplay of it, man. But going back in and playing 2012, like, the overall vibe of this map and the way the game flows and stuff like that. I love the nighttime setting, the daytime. I really do love how Fairhaven looks. Probably one of my favorite maps in Need for Speed. You can attack me on that one if you want. I just love the overall arcade feeling and the fun factor to it. I did like how a lot of this game was basically just a pure fun mess around type of racing game. You just jump in there, have a good time, and not really have to worry about anything crazy. We're also then going to have some of the most wanted races that have really funny intros to them, which I really did enjoy those. And I feel like a lot of people would also look at those and go, this is kind of dope. And again, I do understand the entire like 10 most wanted drivers. This is not going to be a campaign, right? We're not going to have a campaign like The Run or like Ho5 or even something like Carbon. No, it's not really going to be a campaign like you go find cars, you level them up, you get some speed points, and you go race the most wanted drivers. That's basically it. But even with that, I still find the overall fun factor of this game just dragging me back into it. And I feel like, guys, seeing this game on PS5 right now would be absolutely amazing. Like, imagine seeing this game on PS5 and the Xbox and all that, and then boom, multiplayer is going to come back again. I know for a fact a lot of people would jump on there and mess around, guys, because some of these multiplayer matches I had on there were racing and meeting new people and doing different things was some of the best times I had in racing games. I do understand Hot Pursuit 2010 obviously has a multiplayer, but I really did love the overall open factor of Most Wanted 2012. And with that, we all do know the newer Need for Speed games. Like, I do remember in 2015 they tried to do the speed list thing in there and it obviously didn't work. And I do feel like some of that probably comes down to them recapturing or trying to recapture what Most Wanted did with that multiplayer, and it most likely never truly got there. The other thing I really look at, guys, everyone can agree with, is 2012 is such a great looking game coming out over 12 years ago. This game even looks better in areas than modern games do. All they would really have to do is barely remaster it, pretty much bring it over, and boom. Now, I do understand people are like, no, we don't want this Need for Speed remastered, and I would probably guess if they did end up remastering 2012, I would say a lot of people would be happy, and then we are obviously going to have a big part of the fan base, which I completely understand, probably wouldn't be all that happy with this game coming back. But I gotta admit, I feel like jumping on this game again, guys, and playing the multiplayer and stuff. Hearing the cars, engines in this game were just absolutely insane. I love the way they sounded. The LFA, for example, the Lamborghinis, the cars, all sounded very good. I also did enjoy the way you could like change different things like long gears or short gears and change your tires to off-road or something going into an off-road area. Again, this is not a racing sim or something. This is most likely going to be a full-on arcade racing game. But you know what? The fun factor is there, which I feel like a lot of games nowadays are kind of lacking. And what's kind of hilarious is we do know something like Motorfest was doing the Chase Squad thing. That kind of brought me back to Need for Speed Hot Pursuit again, and also Most Wanted 2012, because even with the Chase Squad being in there, it's not nearly as fun or nearly even close to being good as something like Hot Pursuit or even Most Wanted. Now, I do know the cops in this game are only going to be on single player. They're still very fun to mess with. Getting in one of your favorite cars, getting like a reinforced chassis piece on there, and then just messing with them, destroying the SWAT trucks and stuff was very entertaining. And then on top of that, doing some of the Most Wanted races were also very fun because you had police on you as like a level 5 plus heat normally going against you. And that was also going to add on to the overall fun factor to it. I really am curious to know what y'all think about this in the comments. I do understand again that a lot of people probably wouldn't be the biggest fan of this game, but to be honest, man, seeing something like Hot Pursuit 2010 come out again, I feel like Most Wanted 2012 really is probably going to make the most sense if they were to remaster something. Again, I do feel like licensing and also even music licensing probably does play a role here, which does really make me wonder about the older Need for Speed games, if they could even really remaster them, man. Like, is it possible with the cars and all that? Can they do it? Maybe it's not even possible. Maybe Most Wanted has like the biggest factor. I would say the only L that this game could take is not having the LFA, but honestly, they gotta have it in there. You cannot release this game again without having the LFA. But I would also say a lot of people are like, man, I would love to see the game come out again or something like that. And seeing like an old Need for Speed game would be absolutely amazing. But if you were to release one of those games again and we did end up getting it, giving us the game and taking out some of the main cars people were a big fan of probably isn't the best way to do it. And most likely a lot of people would enjoy the game but also be upset if they did end up doing that. So I am wondering how licensing and stuff like that would end up playing a role if they would end up bringing the game back. To be honest, guys, I feel like if they brought Most Wanted back, I really think a lot of people would enjoy it. And again, there's not much of anything going on in the racing game genre right now, at least new stuff anyway. So seeing something like this come out again, I feel like a lot of people would pick it up, play the multiplayer, and overall have a great time in it. Until we finally get to a new Need for Speed game, hopefully coming out around 2027. I am really curious to know your thoughts on this in the comments below, guys. Do let me know what you think. Would you like to see a Most Wanted 2012 again? I do feel like a lot of people would love this game, guys. It looks absolutely fantastic still, and I really feel like they don't have to do a lot to this game if they were to port it over. At least getting the cars in there and stuff like that and having the multiplayer active again, man, it would be absolutely amazing, and I feel like a lot of people would probably love it. Again, let me know what y'all think about this. Now, I do understand that people are like, no, Block, we really don't want this game. We want the older ones. I get that. And who knows, maybe that could happen, but I also feel like there's so many factors playing into it that the older Need for Speed games might be way harder to remaster than something like Most Wanted 2012 would be.